Honestly, no. I have always felt like any hero could beat any other hero on any given match, depending on skill level, the stuff that you draw. So it's always nice to see at least four different
Hmm.
heroes in a top eight. You never want to see like six Dash and two Dory or something like that.
Sure.
So it's always nice to see.
Hmm. No, I definitely agree. I like the also we do have some variation in the different builds. We are gonna get the game started here. We do have the players of the correct colors. Um, so nobody's hand will be kind of shown on stream here. Um, so we do have John starting on the mechanologist. He's gonna start with a high octane, I believe. He's gonna pitch to draw the card off high octane. Interesting turn one. What do you think about that, Jeff?
It looks like he's trying to go deep on turn one. I'm a little confused by that, but I guess we'll see how it's going to play out. Obviously, he knows his hand better than either of us, so
Sure.
it looks like he's electing to load both his pistol and his chamber here with the last
Hmm.
two resources. Interesting
Sure.
choice. All right, he's coming in with the pistol for two.
Sure. I know whenever I play Mechanologist, you see the high octane turn one. Usually my inclination is to arsenal it and kind of keep going. He might not want to arsenal it because he wants to put a D-react in the arsenal because of warrior matchup. That would be my guess, and it doesn't really serve much purpose in hand. Although, I mean, Matt's probably just going to block every shot here unless he's got something truly amazing in hand that he really does want to save for next turn. But either way,
Yeah,
still kind of pitching and swinging for the pistol hit here. Matt will block the shot here, and he's gonna use the induction chamber for go again. I imagine probably just basic load up your stuff, arsenal pass, maybe shoot again or something like that. Or unless he's got a turn one item, that would be nice.
yeah. I'm not too sure about the high octane play unless he's trying. Okay, so he's actually going to attack here.
Mm-hmm. Attack with is that combustible courier? My
It is combustible courier, but it looks like it's a blue one. But would
Okay,
only come
fair
in for
enough.
two.
Right, okay. So he loads up his pistol, comes in for two. Matt blocks the two. I don't know if he charged his induction chamber. It looks like the token
He
is not
charged the
on it.
pistol, I believe.
Okay, so he charged the pistol. He didn't charge the induction chamber. Interesting choice. I probably would have opted to just charge the chamber, but John could have seen the two as might as well just throw it at him and make Matt block with another card. So that might have been the thought process there. On Matt's turn, he's just gonna pitch the 20 blade and swing for three. He's got one floating. We'll see what kind of tricks he has up his sleeve.
Yeah, he's coming in raw, but he still has three cards left in hand, and he
Hmm.
has a resource floating. So I suspect a couple of tricks coming out of Matt here.
For sure. Definitely a lot the warrior can bring to the table, even at one energy. Just assuming no more pitch, you've got Out for Blood, you've got Stroke of Foresight, you've got Iron Song if they trigger the reprise on there for the +3. They've got Singing Stillblade. It's kind of possibilities are endless here. Glint would be the next kind of choice here to give it the free go again. The reprise is not active here as John opted not to block. Uh, we'll see a Fate Foreseen though from hand, so I believe that is a red Fate Foreseen. I'm just gonna
Yep.
expand my screen a bit here so make sure I can see everything more clearly. Uh, there we go, red Fate
And
Foreseen.
here comes the out for blood as well,
Mm-hmm.
which we
Red,
expected.
red out for blood, so gonna give him +3, and then the reprise is active because the fate did resolve. Unmovable
Yep.
from Arsenal, so kind of what we were alluding to a little bit earlier. Did want to make sure to put that into Arsenal. Just decide to play the high octane because he wanted to have the unmovable in the Arsenal just in case. What do you think about using unmovable there?
Um, Honestly, I think it did work out for him because he also has the opt one, so he knows if he can boost his first attack. He also knows what he's going to draw potentially.
Mm-hmm.
And it just fully sort of stopped the Dawn Blade swing there, effectively ending his turn.
Sure.
'Cause he did have to commit Glint there.
That is
So I
true.
actually like that.
Fair enough. Definitely expecting John to have a lot of copies of Unmovable in this matchup. At least six, if not nine, I would assume here. So just going to swing in, Matt just blocking with his boots there. So he's just going to take the rest of it, block with boots, so the bolters will be more efficient this way. As if he does activate it, it's already taken his 1 damage. He is on his
Exactly.
turn. Yeah, he is on this turn going to pop the Supremacy, going to swing in with the Dawnblade. 2 cards in hand, 1 card in arsenal. He pitched an energy potion, so he does have 1 floating. Pretty scary here because the card draw on hit can really fuel the fire. And we're going to see a block coming out of Jonathan here. We're going to see at least a zipper hit and a Tome of Findel for 5. So right now he's just blocking the 5. He might want to block with armor also. I'm not sure what he's kind of like. Warrior could have any. It's his second turn of the game essentially for Max, so he still could have mostly anything. So Jonathan deciding if he wants to overblock here to try to prevent some of that damage from seeping through and allowing a second hit off Dorinthea.
Yeah, especially with that drawing of a card
Mm-hmm.
off of the Supremacy there. You definitely don't want to see that because that's a lot of resources being generated in terms of cards and
Sure.
potentially pitch value.
Sure. So we do see the Iron Song coming out of Matt's hand, so giving it the +3. Very nice trick for 0 cost. We have the second unmovable coming from the arsenal. Jonathan ready with
Ooh,
the. He's not. No one's moving anywhere today.
no.
It's just coming in for another 8. 2 unmovables. Turn 1, turn 2. It's seeming to me like I feel Matt's actually quite happy about this because seeing all these red unmovables being used for seemingly, I mean, don't get me wrong, it's all about tempo, and Jonathan can definitely draw up and set up his board for later. But if I'm Matt, I'm pretty happy about seeing those 2 red unmovables used for those because I'm not setting up a courage turn. I'm not like blowing equipment to try to keep going. I'm just really just trying to get his really big D-reacts off the field here.
Absolutely. And you know what? I'm a little bit curious actually about the extra defense from the Teklo Foundry Heart because he almost didn't even need it if he knew he could block for 8
Mm-hmm.
and had 5 already on board in terms of his cards from hand.
Fair enough. I mean, top A, a little bit of nerves from both players. Well, I don't know. Matt Rogers has nerves, doesn't have nerves, not nerves of steel. Not really sure here, but definitely top 8 in tournament this size. First game of the day. It's you really do have to get into the motion of it here to get into the swing of things. So might be things here and there that you kind of go back, be like, oh yeah, if I was a little bit more warmed up, I might have done something differently. Um, Either
That's fair.
way,
Yep.
still doing fine. Still 40 to 35. Still pretty early in the game. Definitely far from over. So we're gonna see Matt's turn, swinging in, pitching a Blue Iron Song for a Spoils of War and a Dawnblade, coming in for 5. Go again. We'll see what. Sorry, 2 cards in hand, 1 card in arsenal, 1 floating. So we'll see what John would want to block with here. It is unconditional go again. Important point to note. And we did see in the morning pod, Matt does run a lot of potions. So even if he's trying to get an overblock out of Jonathan, he could just play a I don't know, a time snap or an energy potion and just say pass, and he got amazing trade, probably a bit like 1 for 2 cards, 1 for 3 cards possibly. Jonathan is going to let it hit though.
And he will create those 2 copper tokens. I don't actually know if Matt is running cash in, so that might be irrelevant. But if he is, as a pitch for 2, you never know.
You never know. I didn't see it in the morning pod when I casted this game before, but he didn't go through his entire deck, so it is still possible. Matt kind of trying to move on the Dawnblade here. We got he's trying to get there. We go. Dawn's gonna bring it up for him here. A little bit of a little bit of Canadian friendliness here. Just bring it over the
He
sword.
can't even move his own Dawnblade. I guess he scoops.
Oh, there we go. We got a little bit. We got the guiding touch of Red Riot Games Canada and trying to bring it in the Dawnblade here, swinging. Then we've got the Braidford Bracers, so we've got the +1, and then we've got the Dawnblade swinging in for 4. Matt did pitch the Singing Steel Blade for the extra pitch to make sure he's able to swing the Dawnblade, and he has 1 card in arsenal and 1 card in hand.
And that is still a scary sort of thing to be looking at. And now there's 2 Dawnblades. I guess they're just going to get rid of the other one. Okay, perfect.
Okay,
Yeah, so that's still a scary sort of attack.
Mm-hmm.
You're coming in for 4, which inherently is gonna take either a defense react or
Fair.
1 card from hand and an armor here.
Fair enough. We Dawnblade seems to be being a little bit awkward here. We might have a little bit of technical difficulties here. It looks like Matt is not able to hold on to his Dawnblade. And we're gonna see if we got a bit of a fix here. Trying to get a secondary copy. It might be a ping issue. I am seeing Matt on a 999 ping here on the TTS server, so it might just be a ping thing. It might just be a is what I'm guessing. So we might have to hold on for a sec as he reconnects. I'm pretty sure that is the issue, that the ping is just on TTS, as this is a global tournament, not able to do this in person. I mean, this is going to be kind of a with so many games played, this is bound to happen. We do have players from opposite sides of the globe kind of playing each other. But at least it is possible the game doesn't go away in TTS, in case anyone is wondering. You can just leave the game and reconnect, and the board state will be saved exactly how it was. We do have multiple kind of snippets, as you will, like quick saves on the board.
Of course.
But we can also do a hard save in this particular case to make sure we have the board state. So we are going to get Matt to reconnect. Interesting point also in the rest of the top eight. Just wanted to let people know we have a win, as we have by default Sharif Shaban beating Jason Thompson Sheck by default. I don't believe he was able to. I don't believe Jason came in on time, so we had to give Sharif the automatic win first here. So that's kind of happening on the other side of the pod. That being said, we do have Matt back in it. Let's see if he can move everything and everything will be okay. Everything's looking good to us here. We see Matt on not 900 ping, so looking good on this side. Okay,
Okay,
so
he can move his dice.
he can move the dice. That's good. That's a good side. That's a good side. Apologies for this, folks. It is kind of a limitation of a tournament of running on TTS here.
Obviously, the game is meant to be played in person, so this
of
is a bit of
course.
a hit or miss.
And what a great game to play in person. I don't know how much you've been. I mean, I know, Jeff, you've been playing for a fair amount of time down in Ontario there, at your locals. So you can probably attest to the fact that this game is indeed very, very fun in person. And in a pandemic kind of situation, if TTS needs to be used, I mean, it's gonna be used. It's just kind of how it works.
Of course, because you know what? This game is one of the funnest games that I've ever played, and it looks like, sorry, jumping back into the game here, it looks as if John is going to be blocking for 9 coming
Oh
out of his
yes.
hand.
9. Matt's got 1 card in hand, 1 card in arsenal. He's blocking for 9. His attack is only coming in for 4, but Matt does have 1 floating. I'm interested to see what the last card in John's hand is. I would assume maybe an item or something that can't block, but I could be wrong. He doesn't want to give Matt tempo here, so luckily Matt can move everything now, so that hopefully does solve the issue. On Jonathan's turn, I imagine he's gonna. Oh, okay, so it's just another blue card. Just going to pitch the blue, load up, and swing with the pistol here. Shoot with the pistol, swing with the pistol, however you want to call it.
Then I would imagine he's probably going to just load up the pistol and the chamber and probably pass the turn at that point to keep them both loaded, knowing that Matt has no way to interact with his items.
Mm-hmm.
It's a little different in the brute matchup when you don't want to load up certain items because they could just smash them all, but in this case, he's pretty much safe.
True, yeah. Arc Smash comes in, whether it's loaded or not loaded. Those
Yep.
chambers and purifiers are going out the window there.
Yeah, that is for sure.
So Matt opted to just take the hits here. It looks like he's down to 33. Uh, and he took the second one. He took 1 point and he used the skull cap for the other point. So he
That's fair.
took one from there. He's got he's got a 5 card hand, including the arsenal. So Matt's definitely swinging here for tempo. We've got a Spoils of War coming out, pitching the blue overpower. So he's got one floating. And he's got 5 go again on the field. He's got 2 cards in hand. He's got 1 card in arsenal. We'll see. I don't see anything. I'm not expecting anything super crazy until he blocks with the courage maybe, and that might be a bit of a tell that he wants to definitely pop it off either next turn or the turn after, something like that, right? But I am like, if I'm the mechanologist here, what am I afraid of? What do I not want to happen in this situation?
In this situation, it's very tricky because he still has a lot of cards left that he can play in terms of Matt. So the go again, no matter what, is scary because even if you block it outright, he could have like you said a potion. He could also have some sort of attack, maybe. So
Mm-hmm.
either way, it looks like John's going to elect to just take the hit.
Mm-hmm.
In my opinion, if you don't have a strong defense re- reaction turn sort of set up there,
Mm-hmm.
that's probably the best idea, just to
Right. Yeah.
see what Matt can do or maybe commit some more cards.
Mm-hmm. So he does pitch the. So he's going to use the last tick on his energy to use the bracers, and he's going to pitch a Razor Reflex for the sword. So probably Matt not having a super energy rich hand there is pitching the Razor to make sure he swings. So probably just trying to get some free damage in, maybe bluffing a little bit that he might not have the energy to pump up a really tall attack. Did work, got a free 5 damage in there. Brave Forge Bracers, a really strong equipment card for Warrior, does add the extra damage onto that Dawnblade, making it come in for 4, making Jonathan really consider what he wants to block with. Does he want to put another piece of armor in here? Does he want to block with 2 cards? If he's blocking with 2 cards, is there just a reaction that's coming on top of it? So there's still a couple mind games going on here. But I think really he just wants to avoid the token being kind of generated on the the Dawnblade counter being generated on the counter on the second hit. Um, okay, so it looks like we're gonna see a block. We're gonna see how much he wants to block for here. It looks like it's gonna be 3 plus the skull
It's gonna
cap.
be
He's putting a counter on the skull cap there. So it's gonna be
yep.
3 plus
So it
2.
looks like it's 5. Yep,
Mm-hmm.
that's correct. So it looks like he's coming in for 5, just sort of trying to mitigate the damage here. We'll see what Matt Rogers responds with.
Oh, maybe not. He's kind of moving around the counter, seeing if he wants to block with the skull cap, maybe the Foundry Heart.
Or maybe the Foundry Heart. Yep, just to block 4.
So if you're in John's shoes, are you blocking? What are you blocking with ideally?
So without knowing his deck, it's very hard for me to sort of guesstimate what he should do here because I don't know how
Mm-hmm.
many defense reacts he plays. We know we've already
Sure,
seen at least 3. We've
sure.
seen a red fate and we've seen the 2 unmovable reds.
Mm-hmm.
I would probably just block for 4. I wouldn't want to waste the extra damage on Skullcap right now.
Sure. Fair enough. I mean, John agrees with you.
It
He's
looks like
moving the counter over.
yep, he actually agrees with me, which is shocking, but that's okay. So we got 4. So he's blocking for 4. Oh, here comes the singing steel blade. Means Matt will be able to look through his deck for any attack react he wants, although he doesn't
Mm-hmm.
have
He doesn't have any floating because he had to pitch a red overpower. So I was correct in saying it was not a very energy rich hand here. He only really had the 1 blue overpower to work with. Definitely a bit of a con playing warrior. Not as many blues to kind of always have something to use to actually throw in your attacks. But in this particular case, he really only needed Singing Steel Blade that gets a free Iron Song response, right? Because that only costs 0, so he's going to get an extra
yep.
+4 off that. Because John did opt to block with 1 card from hand, making it making it defended and making Reprise active. So Matt was able to actually use the Reprise effect from Singing Steel Blade grabbed Iron Song. Iron Song reprise was active, added another +3, and Matt gets his first Dawnblade counter of the game.
I'm sorry there, Eric. Just a quick jump in there. It looks like he only used a iron blue because
Okay.
John only took 2 from there, which makes sense because if Matt was reading that he didn't have any sort of defense react there,
Mm-hmm.
all it takes is the 1.
True. Yep, he did only need to get over very slightly. On Jonathan's turn, we do see a high octane into
A zipper hit.
a red zipper hit for 5 boost hits. So he's gonna come in for 5, go again. He's gonna get 1 action point from the high octane, and then he'll have go again from zipper hit. So he has a total of 2 action points at the moment. Interesting to see the second high octane. Matt elects to just take the 5 off zipper hit. So Matt must have like a decent hand. I mean, he has a Dawnblade counter, right? So he does definitely want to keep up the tempo a little bit, and using your life as a resource is definitely a strong tool in Flesh and Blood. He's going to take another 2 off the pistol hit. Jonathan's going to elect to use Induction Chamber to gain go again, so he's still sitting at the same action points as before, I believe, because he didn't actually use the high octane one yet. Pitching the
Correct.
locked and loaded, I believe, for
Locked and loaded blue.
Yes, locked and loaded blue for 3. He's got 2 action points left, so I guess he could swing the pistol twice, load up induction, and pass. It would be my guess here.
Yeah, that's probably what we're gonna see, and it looks like that's definitely what he's doing here.
Sorry, I meant load up the chamber. If he shot twice, his turn would be over,
Yes.
I guess. So load up the chamber and then swing again with the pistol.
And shooting, yeah.
Yeah.
So it looks like Matt is definitely showing he's just ready to take all of this turn.
Yeah.
Knowing that John didn't actually have a full hand to use his high octane with, he just decided, I'll just take all this and I'll come back at you with potentially more.
Sure. Interesting to see. I mean, Matt has 4 cards. Not the 5 card hand I was expecting him. He might be waiting for to kind of take a bunch of face damage and swing in, but he must have at least the right amount of resources to swing in. He has a Dawnblade counter. I mean, that +1 is very, very strong, especially forcing some really awkward blocks out of John when he has nothing in Arsenal, right? So Matt sees there's nothing in Arsenal. No scary unmovable from the arsenal. If he's unmovable from hand, he is going to have to use 1 card from hand and then the movable from hand. So he's going to only have 2 cards left to block with if he pulls out like a 20 blade or something like that and gives it go again with like a glint, for instance. The reprise is active, so he's going to get the card, going to get the go again, and going to be able to swing again off 20 blade. Not saying that's what he has, just kind of thinking about what Matt could have to kind of push the damage regardless of what Jonathan has in his hand.
Yeah, and then even so, even if he just took two to 3 cards out of John's hand there, you're pretty happy with that too. It looks like he's opting to block with Skullcap and Spark of Genius here. Interesting choice.
Blocking for he's okay. More cards are coming out of the hand here. He's gonna try to overblock this and hope that what I just said Matt might have, he does not have. So let's see. Okay, so we've got 2 potions here. We do have a sorry, it looks like a blue overpower.
Does look blue. Oh my.
That is strong. So we're gonna have +7 in total, I believe. 4 from overpower and 3 from razor, having just enough resources to kick it off here because he only used the 1 for Dawnblade. 7 plus 4 is 11, so he is going to get barely over the 10 block I believe Jonathan was rocking there, going from 28 to 27.
Yep,
it was
like.
it was, I think it was three cards blocking plus the Arcanized Skullcap for 1, right? So he is going to get the hit, which is nice. I mean, I think he might have 1 floating because he pitched 6, overpower cost 3, razor cost 1, and Dawnblade cost 1. So he does have 1 floating. So he's going to try to swing again, I think, with his last energy, popping the bolters. Jonathan's going to take it. He doesn't, whatever he has in hand, he doesn't want to block with that. He has no armor left for that block also, since he does use the Skull Cap. Everything else has counters on it, so He figured, what's the point of using the card maybe to block for 3? Just take 1. He's going to get the counter regardless. So decides to just take it, give Matt his second counter, arsenal, and pass. So we'll see what Matt has on his turn.
I think this turn is critical for John here. I think he needs to block this outright, or Matt might just start running away with this game here.
I
Fortunately,
mean, having that last red unmovable here in Arsenal would be quite good. Would be the place to use it here.
yes, 100% agree.
We'll see if he did. We'll see if that was his last card. It is possible. Does have one left in the deck. He also probably is running other unmovables, right? So even a yellow unmovable is still better than no unmovable here.
Of course, we'll see what he comes up with here. I think he might know that this turn is extremely critical because Matt already has 2 counters on his Dawn Blade, so it's already coming in for 5 with the 2 from the Supremacies coming in for 7.
Coming in for 7. Draw a card on hit. Matt's got 2 cards in hand, 1 floating. Jonathan's gonna block for 3, 6. Thinking about maybe the last one. Oh, there. Okay, we do have an unmovable for hand. It is a yellow unmovable. So we're gonna have from hand. So that's what, 6 plus 3 plus 3, I believe.
Yep, so that's 12.
Yeah, we're gonna block for 12. That is gonna block the full one. Matt opts not to play. He might not have had reactions, or he might only have had 1 reaction for like a +3, so he couldn't get through the unmovable. Either way, really strong to get those double Dawnblade counters off of Matt Rogers' Dawnblade. And life totals are pretty similar. Tempo wise, we're in a pretty similar state in the game here. On Matt's turn, he's just going to push out the Red Warrior's Valor and the Dawnblade coming in for 6, go again on hit.
Yeah, and that's a very strong follow-up turn because he's still threatening 6 with a go again if it hits. So
For sure.
again,
He also does have that card in Arsenal this time. So Matt does have a card in Arsenal. Could threaten another Iron Song. Could be threatening any sort of reactions. I mean, he has got 1 floating, right? So I think the key is when Warrior does get at least that 1 blue card, it's very, very scary because a lot of things come online, right? Most of your reactions cost 0 or 1. I mean, other than like a route or an overpower. Really's got the full gambit here available to him, and so Jonathan's got to be thinking, how do I kind of block this and still maybe have a turn next time to try to poke in with the pistol. Interesting to note, no items yet from Jonathan. I'm not sure if he just hasn't drawn them, or maybe it's possible he just sided them all out. I'm not actually sure. Maybe he's going for a heavy boost strategy with the Goliath Gauntlet. I'm not actually sure, right? So it is interesting to note that we don't have any items or Spark of Genius out from Jonathan yet.
yeah, well, we saw the 1 spark used to block, which I thought was a neat choice, especially since we haven't seen any sort of items yet. And it looks like he's taken the hit from Dawnblade, which is very interesting.
Mm-hmm. I believe we
He
did
might
see
not
a.
have.
Sorry, we did see a Tekla core earlier, so at least there's something in
Yes,
there. You could search for something, but it's not the something we might have been thinking about earlier.
that is true. Oh, and it looks like he's going to pitch a red flock for 1 to be able to
Mm-hmm.
get that extra resource to swing the Dawnblade a second time, opting to increase its attack by 1 with the gauntlets.
Sure.
That's actually come in clutch this matchup. I think he's used it 3 or 4 times now to help boost it.
Yeah, no,
We'll
for
see what
sure.
we'll see what Jonathan does here.
We do have a couple other results just to let everyone know what's happening on the other tables. Dan McKay on Brute did beat Jacob Pearson on table 3. This is just as a reminder, this is double elimination. So just because any of these players lost in their first game, it does mean that they can still make it if they win the rest of their games down the stretch here. We do also have, I believe, Dante Delfico winning his matchup. I believe it was a mech on mech action on his table. So we'll have him also coming in 1-0.
That sounds good. So this is the last one. Oh, and it looks like he
There we go.
has played. He's playing his second item now.
Better late than never. Better late than never,
Yeah,
Jeff.
yep, that is true. It's something you don't want to see this late, but you know what? Trying to swing the tempo back into his favor, I don't hate that play there coming out of
Hon-
Jonathan.
Honestly, strong play, pitching a tome for exactly two. I mean, can't
Yeah,
really ask for much more here. Can we
Matt
get a bit?
Rogers just gonna push it here with a raw Dawn Blade, but
Yep,
two
two
resources
floating.
floating.
Yeah, two floating. Could be a route. Could be an over. Oh, there's the overpower. Yep. So we have pitching a Warrior's Valor for the overpower to get up here. I believe that's a blue Warrior's Valor as well. So he's got 5 pitch in total, and he's still got two floating. Yeah, that is a blue Warrior's Valor. So we got two floating still. Oh man, can you imagine that route coming out of the Arsenal? That would be a card
Oh,
to have right now to see if we're gonna see the block out of Jonathan. Probably just waiting, play the overpower. Might as well just get a. It is a red overpower. Just get the raw damage here, the raw +4, I believe, out of the red overpower. Don't worry about the
yes.
+2 for reprise. You don't need the +2 for reprise. You got the +4 already.
Yeah, so he's coming in for 7 already, which is already an awkward number to block for.
Hmm.
There's
We
a
do have a
sink
sink
below.
below. Hmm. Jonathan hoping that that's the end of it, but we both know that there's probably something else coming along.
Yep, and
We
here comes the singing steel blade.
hmm Important to note that the reason he wanted to save the singing and use the overpower first is he did want that search from reprise. So good kind of keep the one floating. Make sure that if he does block from hand, which he has to block this attack, right? So he's gonna get a
Yep,
+1.
exactly.
Gonna search for the glint to make sure he gains the go again, and he's gonna draw the card to make sure he has fuel to then attack again with the Dawnblade for another 3 or 4 with the Brave Forge, whatever he decides. Matt still has that card in hand. Sorry, one card in arsenal. So that also could be an attack reaction if he drew a yellow or a blue. He could do all kinds of good stuff with that.
Yeah, you know what? Experience coming into play here for Matt. Looks like this is going to be a huge turn for him.
Hmm.
Just going to clean up some of those attack reactions there. Using
Yeah,
that.
another time
Oh, he
snap.
drew a blue.
Ooh. Oh, that's a good draw for this particular situation here. So Matt's just gonna swing in again here. Coming in for 4, I believe, with the Brage Force Bracers.
Yes, coming in for 4. He's got 2 resources floating. Even if he doesn't have any sort of reaction, you have Jonathan thinking about that for sure.
I would love to see that route in Arsenal. I would love to see that. That would be the best holdout of route that I've seen this tournament so far. There's a lot of warriors in this tournament so far. Just kind of, you've got a bunch of stuff, but just hold the route, just in case you drew that blue. Don't know if that's what he was planning. Probably not, but it would still be entertaining. And this is for entertainment, so there you go.
Absolutely. I guess Jonathan's assessing the current situation he's in, which is
Mhm.
not looking so great right now.
It's a bit grim. To be fair, I think Jonathan definitely not getting super lucky on his item draws. I think waiting that long for your first plasma purifier. I mean, Matt is bringing the tempo here. Don't get me wrong with Warrior, and not really giving Jonathan a lot of opportunities to play a Spark of Genius for 4 to find something, right? So I'm not saying that there was like a you know plethora of opportunities for Jonathan to do whatever he wants, but getting your first kind of raw item that late, assuming you're running 2-2, 2 induction chambers and 2 purifiers. I'm not sure if that's what Jonathan's doing. I'm just based on like the standard matchup. It is a little bit unlucky here that he got the first item super late. He is going to take the 4 from the Dawnblade here, though.
That's right. It looks like he's trying to keep some cards in his hand. Um, got to assume he's going to be doing something big here because otherwise he's on 9
Hmm.
and Matt's at 21, so that's not looking so great. Looks like he's pitched for 3. He'll be loading up the pistol, maybe. Yep, looks like he's going to load up the pistol.
Hmm.
Oh, could we see a CNC? Yep.
There it
We're
is.
going to see the Goliath Gauntlet breaking here for the Command and Conquer, trying to maybe stun Matt here,
Trying to
hoping that he'll
definitely,
commit.
yeah, definitely trying to get a little bit of tempo back. Trying to blocking 8. Matt might just take the 8 here, honestly. What's in his
Honestly,
arsenal?
that's probably a good call, especially with only an Iron Song in the
Yeah,
arsenal.
not something like he might have blocked a little bit for like an Iron Song determination, but having to block with armor and 2 cards is a little bit stunting here. So I can see why Matt just doesn't really want to bother here. Just wants to swing in with the raw Dawnblade for 4, pitching the blue hit and run, 2 floating, 3 cards in hand. So we were right saying it was an attack reaction arsenal. It was not a route, but it was an attack reaction. So he did have a little bit more juice if he needed to.
It is true. I can't quite see which Iron Song it was. I think it was red,
It was a red one, yeah.
which isn't great to lose, but at the same time, it wasn't doing much anyway there because
Mhm.
Jonathan just didn't block at all. So
Yeah, if you can't block, I mean, the new LSS rules means you still can use it, but it doesn't feel that great when you're using it for nothing, right?
yeah, just to clear up the arsenal.
Yeah,
Obviously, Matt elected to just leave it there.
for sure. I mean, 9 to 13, far from over, honestly. Still possible that John can get out of this. I mean, stunting. I mean, Warrior is definitely possible for Warrior to have a couple bad hands in a row, and that just kind of stunts your tempo. But we'll see what Matt's got. He does have a stroke of foresight, so that's going to come in for +3. It doesn't matter if there's reprise or not, so that's going to come in for 7, unless there's any kind of D reacts coming in from Jonathan's side.
It looks like he's trying to calculate. It looks like he's just going to take the 7 here.
hmm
Oof.
Or not,
Or
maybe.
not. What's he?
He might have seen the number 2 and not been a super big fan, seeing if he, he might want to just block that and not go to 2.
I'm not sorry. I'm not too sure what's going on here. Looks like they're
Might
to
be
calculate damage, or
it might be thinking about like priority passes or something like that, or I mean the reprise is not active, so it's not that because Jonathan has it blocked.
correct. Yeah.
And once you play the stroke, that's kind of the first level of the chain here. So it's not going to check
Yeah.
anything
No.
there.
So that's going to resolve. I guess Matt was maybe wanting to play something else. Looks like he's going to play Out for Blood, which will make it lethal now.
Hmm. Okay.
Guessing
Uh,
the sort of confusion there was maybe that once the uh, insight resolves, maybe
mhm.
he thought that he was just going to go straight to damage, but Matt does get priority after that resolves, which would let him play his Out for Blood here,
Sure.
to then boost it to lethal.
hmm Important to note for viewers, there is no time limit on this top 8 game, on any top 8 games here. So there's no kind of risk of a draw uh, on any of these games here. So someone will be dying, someone will be winning. Not to worry.
Someone will be dying.
Someone will be dying. Blood will be spilt. Not sure whose, but it will be spilt.
It looks like currently Dash is at risk of dying at this point. Lethal is on board for
hmm
Matt Rogers here.
Yeah, we do have
We
10
are in
coming
the
in.
and we are in the reaction step. So unless Jonathan has defense reacts, he's dead.
I'm hoping there's a red unmovable somewhere. We do have a judge assistance call for the room that I just noticed pop up, and we're gonna have our head judge go in there and check out what's going on here. I'm not sure. I'm just kind of looking at the judge calls in the Discord. So we'll see what kind of what the issue here.
Yeah, I'm not sure what the issue could be, unless it's that timing issue that we discussed earlier.
So we've got our head judge coming in here to kind of resolve any kind of issues. You gotta admit, a nice part about TTS, you just call the judge over and he just, snap your fingers and he kind of blinks over here in an instant. None of this walking around the room and finding him. Got midnight Solus to the rescue. You blink and he's there with the rule book in hand.
Book in hand, and he throws the book at you.
But who is he throwing the book at? It is the question here.
I don't know.
Um, I imagine it's something along the lines of like priority triggers for like reprise maybe, but like even then you're just coming in tall here, so I'm not like
Yeah,
maybe Jonathan's missing a window or I'm not sure. Is it possible that's something that would actually matter here if he's just coming in for 10? Wouldn't you just, if you had unmovable, you're using unmovable, or is it kind of like, oh, you play an attack reaction, I play a defense reaction? Sorry, Matt maybe plays a stroke, passes over to Jonathan, and then Matt plays another attack reaction. That's fine, and then Jonathan could play his unmovable for hand or arsenal or whatever. But I imagine both players would already kind of be aware of that. So I don't know if that's the issue.
um honestly, the only issue I can see here with the play is potentially Jonathan is confused about as soon as the foresight resolves, he did start taking that damage and then Matt stopped him. So unless he's
Yeah,
confused about once that resolves, the whole chain link resolves, maybe
sure.
is what
I,
he's
I
confused about.
I mean, I assume he did pass priority on the trigger for Foresight, right? So Foresight resolved.
Yes.
He did draw his card. Well, he would have drawn his card if he
He
would have defended, but there
yes.
is no reprise here, so I can't see that as being an issue either, right? Um,
No.
this is just pure +3.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just pure +3. The only thing I can think of is he might think that the whole attack resolves after that resolves. I'm not sure. That's what it was, and
Okay,
he
so
doesn't think.
I did get a bit of a message here. So it looks like there was a bit of confusion playing multiple attack reactions. John might have not
uh
believed he could play another after like a defense reaction. So it might have been that
yes.
that piece I mentioned a little bit earlier, which is fair. I mean, again, these players coming off a pretty long Swiss round, and making it to top 8, so it might just be a bit of nerves here, right? So can't really fault the players for any kind of like
No, no,
nuanced
no, of course not.
nuanced rulings here and there.
Looks like this might be the end of the game. We saw John move his counters off of his armor.
Mhm. So
He
it
moved one
was
off the pistol.
sure. So it was actually specifically whether the attack reaction resolves and Matt regains priority to play another attack reaction. So it was essentially whether he could play stroke
Yeah.
right into out for blood instead of stroke pass nothing out for
Yes.
blood pass kind of thing. So it was
Yep.
just based on the fact whether he can retain priority and just stack both of them. That was the
Yep.
question.
Yep. And which of course he can because you retain
Yes,
priority. So in theory, he could have played all 3 cards out of his hand if he could have
correct.
and or wanted to
Hmm.
before Jonathan can even respond.
Correct.
Even still, sorry, go for it.
Oh yeah, I was just gonna generally. I mean, if Jonathan's not blocking, reprise is not really relevant, so you might not need to not need to do anything. But I think the understanding Jonathan might have had was once both players pass, everything resolves, and you move straight to the damage calculation. So that was the basis for that.
Yeah, which of course we know is not true. As soon as one
Hmm.
thing resolves, the turn player regains priority to
Yes.
be able to play his out for blood.
Hmm.
Perfect scenario and intelligence there using the rules by Matt to definitely push through lethal at this point.
Hmm. Yeah, I would assume. I mean, he has a D reaction, and that's kind of he either does or doesn't. I'm not sure what else he could have. It could be like zero cost reactions, could be unmovable. Um, Matt just kind of letting him know with the mouse here what's going on here, letting everybody at home know,
Yeah,
moving
and
it
now
around here.
just sort of saying you're dead if you don't block this.
Yep, it's
That sword Yeah, that sword is coming in for six for +6 off of the actions, and then the 4 from Dawnblade is a 10, meaning that if Jonathan has no defense reacts here, he is just dead.
Hmm. Uh, just a note for our viewers. The next game, I believe, we will be streaming. It'll be Jeff coming on again. He'll be joined with Demos, who joined him in the afternoon pod, and we're gonna be casting the Dan McKay versus Dante Delfico here. Very interesting matchup. Um, coming in next. So kind of stay tuned. We're gonna have that coming on right after. Gonna be a nice brute on mech. We'll see if the mech can kind of wiggle their way out of the arc smashes, or just gonna go full aggro and try to take the game by force.
I mean, I know what I would do personally,
Hmm.
but we'll see what Dante decides. He is the leader in experience in Canada, so obviously he should know better than I do, but
I
we'll
mean,
find out.
the man plays a lot of mech. Oh, here we go. So this is so that was a
Look,
plasma purifier from Arsenal? No. It looks like
yep,
there
from
was
Arsenal. So it looks like it's over.
looks like the game is over. He did not have a D react here. To be fair, not to fault Jonathan here. It is definitely a very nuanced kind of priority rules in this game. It's definitely not a simple thing to know once you're in that phase, the priority stages. I mean, it's on the turn player, right?